Hey guys, this is John, and this entire video is going to be my story. It's probably been the most recommended and asked video to do for this YouTube channel ever since I started a few months ago. So everything's gonna be on the table for this video. No, there's no script around me. There's no laptop. I'm not gonna be reading off anything. This is gonna be completely raw, unedited for you guys. So let's get into it. And basically the point of this video is not just to tell you about who I am as a person, but I'm gonna explain to you why I'm in the situation I'm currently in today. Because in my belief, the experiences that you've gone through in the past lead you to be in the current situation where you are in the present. And 100%, I want to thank my family for that, because I wasn't raised 100% necessarily how the majority of the people that I grew up with were, or the people that I went to college with, or the people I even know today that I do business with. It was cool, but it was also hard at times. So I wanted to talk about that, and then I also wanted to talk about the inspirations I had. For example, one of them, my main inspiration for the person I am today, is my dad. So I wanted to talk about the impact that he had on my life. And then, yeah, we're gonna eventually get into college, what I did during college, the epiphany that I had in 2020 that led me to become full-blown entrepreneur, and then leading into graduating, what I was gonna do after I graduated college, to starting my first cleaning business, to meeting my current business partner, starting my second cleaning business, and then everything with Drop Service Academy. And then even the businesses before that. A lot of you, I was posting content in 2020, which I'm eventually gonna get into. My first business wasn't a remote cleaning business, it was a stock Discord. And maybe someone that's watching this video came from that community, because this YouTube channel, actually, we used to post podcasts from the stock Discord, Stock CEOs, every single week. We would go over crypto, finance, macroeconomics, everything that was going on in the markets, and we did a podcast every single week. So maybe some of you guys that are subscribed to this channel just remember that. Remember me in 2020. Well, let me know in the comments if you do, because that'd be sick. That'd be unreal if you're still watching my content today. Just so you guys know, whenever we pause this video, it's because I'm literally losing my voice right now. I've been on calls all day, and we gotta pause so I can drink water. My water's over there. So the place where I wanna start this story is, and I mentioned this on my podcast, the first episode that we released a couple weeks ago. Make sure to watch that, guys, if you haven't yet. We're gonna link that above. But something that I asked Parker and something that I asked Mark, my two business partners, was I asked them the simple question: did you always know that when you were younger, you were gonna be successful? And the reason why I asked them that was because I knew that I was gonna be successful at a very young age. And then a lot of the people that I'm around today, that I do business with, that I know that are crushing it, I've asked them all the same question, and every single one of them have said yes. And that was me. I just knew that I was gonna be successful. Did I know what I was gonna be doing at the time, where like the whole 100% reason why I would be successful? Of course not. I was like 6, 7 years old, but I always had a very strong positive mindset, and I was bullish on myself. I had high conviction in my success. And if anyone's watching this video right now, I'm gonna tell you right now that you guys are already crushing it, because you're watching a video about my story where I'm telling you that if you're not 100% confident and convicted in your success, then you gotta be. And like, if you're watching this video, it means that you're probably in the 1 percentile, because people that aren't bullish on themselves, they're not watching YouTube videos on self-improvement or what businesses that they should be starting online. They're distracted. They're watching Netflix, or they're scrolling on social media. They're on only, like, anything that you can think of, they're doing outside of self-improvement content on YouTube. So pat on the back for you guys. But yeah, I always knew that I was gonna be successful. And when I was growing up, I did have that entrepreneur spirit. For example, my dad, I said that I was gonna talk about him for being one of my biggest inspirations. It's because he is very similar to who I am. He is an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur that a lot of people say. One of the first things that he put me on was yard sales. My dad was like the Gary Vee of your generation. Every single weekend, him and my mom, they'd go to yard sales. I'd always ask to come. He would leave at like 6:30, 7 a.m. And they go to yard sales in our hometown on the Cape Cod, Massachusetts, if you guys are familiar with that area. And he wouldn't just go to yard sales like the average person, where they're going with just like as an errand or like a date or whatever, where they see some stuff that they can have for the house and they buy it. No, he was going because he knew that a lot of people in our hometown were just getting rid of stuff when they have yard sales, because we're from the Cape, which is like moderately a wealthy area to live in. Like, not gonna lie, like, we were middle class. We weren't wealthy, but we were definitely middle class. But all these families on the Cape, they would have yard sales because they're either moving, or they're getting new furniture, or they're renovating, or like their kids are growing up. And he knew that they're just giving away stuff. So my dad would go to these yard sales and he would just clean up. He would spend probably anywhere between a couple $100s, sometimes even thousands of dollars a week on yard sales in the spring, in the summer, because he knew that he was gonna go home, clean up whatever he got, do some research, and then either flip it on eBay, flip it on Craigslist, flip it on Facebook Marketplace, because he was an entrepreneur. It was just a quick way for him to make a couple $1,000s extra a week, which honestly went a long way in 2007 to 2010. You guys know what went on during '08 housing crisis. It was a hard time. But that was one of the first things that I saw my dad doing, which made me addicted. I would go to all these yard sales and I would buy the Game Boy Advances or like all the old Mario games. I'd buy the Tamagotchis. I'd buy Pokemon cards, baseball cards, a lot of stuff that I knew that I could flip, like things that I knew were valuable. I would sell on eBay. My dad, he got me an eBay account when I was 10, 11 years old. It was an account that he had in the early 90s that he didn't use anymore because he ended up using his main eBay account. It was called like Mrs. Pickles. And I was Mrs. Pickles on eBay. I'm 11 years old and I'm literally making like $2,000 to $3,000 every 5, 6 months on just eBay as a 10, 11, 12-year-old guy. My dad had a massive store on eBay. He was buying stuff wholesale. He was buying stuff through outlets, the yard sales, the flea markets. He had a trailer, so he had like an operation where he had all the shipping labels, he had all the boxes, all the packaging, everything that you would need for fulfillment on eBay, because Amazon FBA wasn't a thing back then, or all these different like Shopify stores that you guys have where it's just like literally so easy to make money now. He did everything himself. And because he had all the resources, I would be able to participate in the whole eBay game with him, and he would allow me to use his printing, shipping labels, packages, priority envelopes, everything like that. So it was really cool. But when I started doing that at 10, 11, 12 years old, I fell in love with money. I knew that like the whole game of just getting cash and earning it was just like really cool to me. And that's all I thought about for the longest time. I played soccer my entire life. So I was thinking like, what can I be doing to be able to make money while playing soccer? What did I do? I did some research. I saw that the town referees, they made $30 to $40 a game for the rec leagues. I became a soccer referee. I was reffing like U6, U7, U8 games. And then eventually my boy Caleb, if you're watching this video, Caleb Jepson, shout out him. He got his certification where we would basically be able to do the travel soccer games or the Maple League games. And I did the same thing. I got my badge. It was basically a one-day class. It was like $150. It sucked. We had to take an exam after I passed it. And then I was a certified referee in my town. And now instead of making $30 a game, I was making $50 to all the way up to $100 a game. They're 45-minute halves, guys, 90-minute games. Some of them were even 70 minutes if I were doing the younger age groups. And I was making $300 to $500 a weekend just reffing soccer games while I was this 13, 14-year-old kid. Like, it was absolutely insane. And then even before that, I was a hawker. If you guys don't know what a hawker is, because it's 2024 and everyone has iPhones and all this technology, people would buy newspapers when I was a kid. I would go to the Dunkin' Donuts in Mashpee, and I had my own route. I had to apply for this. It wasn't just something that I could sign up for. I had an interview. With the Cape Cod Times. And the Cape Cod Times, they had business relationships with the Boston Globe, the New York Times, the Post, like all these other different newspapers. And every single Sunday and sometimes Saturday, sometimes there was another guy working the Saturday, and I would just have the Sunday shift, but eventually I was able to monopolize the entire weekend. And guys, I'm in 6th grade. So whatever how old I am in 6th grade, I started doing this. And I sold newspapers until I was a freshman in high school, and then I eventually stopped because I had a lot of other commitments. But I would go to Dunkin' Donuts every single Saturday, Sunday, 6:30 in the morning. I get all my newspapers, and I would sell 50 Cape Cod Times, 10 Boston Globes, like the Herald. We sold like 5 Boston Heralds, and I would stand outside the drive-thru of Dunkin' Donuts, hold up the paper, and I would make probably $50 to $100 a day between just like the commissions that I would get from the newspaper sales, and then all the tips. 100% I would get for the tips every single weekend. And I would be there from 6:30 to as late as sometimes 11 a.m. I'd be there 4 or 5 hours, and it was insane. Like, it was so much fun. And in the winters, it would be like 5 to 10 degrees out, snow on the ground. I'm like freezing cold. I'd have like the hand pads in my gloves, and the old people that would go to church, they'd buy me coffee, they'd tip me, and I would just clean up in the winter because I was just this like tiny kid that was like 4'8", just like trying to make money. Like it was the coolest thing. And I just loved being an entrepreneur. And then when I went to high school, I like couldn't be an entrepreneur anymore. It sucked because I went to Sturgis, which was like the charter public school on the Cape where I grew up, and the education was very hard. It was like the IB International Baccalaureate, I think it was called. So instead of taking like AP classes, we took higher level and standard level after our freshman and sophomore year, so junior and senior year, and we tried to get the full IB diploma. And I played soccer year round too. So I was playing sports. I had a lot of homework, a lot of assignments, and I wanted to have a social life as well because I'm in high school, going through puberty. So like I kind of stopped being an entrepreneur, but that time was when I started finding a strong passion for finance and investing. I joined the investment club. And again, this all stems back to my dad. My dad always had CNBC on in the morning and on the weekends. I'd watch Jim Cramer, David Faber. He'd always be telling me about Bank of America because that was always his largest stock position that he had. And he was kind of like putting me on like the stock game. And so I started doing some research in finance, fell in love with the stock market because I've always been like a sports bettor, sports gambler because I'm from New England. Obviously, I'm spoiled. I have a crazy franchise between Tom Brady and the Patriots. Unfortunately, the Celtics only won once when I was a kid, but they would always be in the playoffs. They'd always win. The Red Sox would always win. I was a Yankees fan, but like I was just around a lot of good teams. So I fell in love with sports. I fell in love with sports betting, that whole concept. And I kind of saw like the stock market as like a similar like token to that. And eventually I discovered options trading and I was trading like that. But didn't really do many other entrepreneurial stuff in high school because all I was focused on was getting a good GPA because I wanted to go to UMass Amherst. That's the one school that I always wanted to go to for the longest time up until sophomore year. Sophomore year, I was kind of doing research on colleges and everything like that, and I fell in love with Penn State. I really wanted to go to Penn State, specifically their business school, Smeal College of Business. And then I was also looking at Michigan and their business school, and then UMiami as well. And it's funny because now I'm in Miami, so what do you know? But you needed a very good GPA to get into the business school at Penn State. And unfortunately, I found out my junior year that they don't like the IB program. The program that I was doing in high school, they didn't really like it. So I was kind of like nervous about that. So I was just focusing hard on school. I was studying my ass off. I was a hard worker, and I can't believe what I did in high school compared to what I would do today. Like I can't even fathom the amount of hours I put in studying in high school. Like there's no way in hell I would be able to do that today. Like I would go to school at 8 o'clock. I'd have school all day. Right after school at 4:30, I'd go to soccer practice or I'd have a game. I'd get back at 7 o'clock and then I'd shower, I'd eat dinner. I'm on my phone for 5-10 minutes. Next thing you know, it's 8 o'clock at night and I have a ton of homework. I have exams, I have quizzes. We would take 7 classes a semester because it wasn't like in regular high schools where you only took 4 classes and then like you wouldn't have to take them anymore. Like no, we had the class that we took in the fall, we would have to take all the way throughout the entire school year. Like it was awful. So I would be up from 9 p.m. is when I would start homework, and I'd be up till like 2 a.m. every single night just doing homework. Like it was unreal. Junior and senior year were the hardest years of my life when it came to just like school. So I was just focused on going to college because at that point I was the president of the investment club at Sturgis, and I wanted to be a financial advisor. I wanted to manage people's finances, their portfolios, stuff like that, retirement planning, wealth management. Like there was a ton of different arrays that I want to do. And then investment banking because I was looking at mergers and acquisitions. I kind of did a lot of research on that. And I just knew that you're at that time in senior year where everyone's trying to figure out what colleges to apply for, majors to apply for, what they want to do. And looking back at it, it's so shitty because how am I supposed to know at 17, 18 years old what I want to do when I'm older? Like just think about that for a second. Like look at TikTok. TikTok came out in like 2020, 2 years after I graduated high school. And now there's people that have TikTok shop where they're making 10, 20K a week or 10, 20K a month just from being an affiliate. Like that wasn't even an option for me. So the fact that when you're 18 years old, you have to make one of the biggest decisions of your life. And the reason why I say it's one of the biggest decisions is because you're going to school for 4 more years. And instead of it being like a high school where it's public and it's free, you're going to be paying $20, $40, sometimes $60,000 a year. Like it's absolutely insane that you're setting yourself up for just a ton of debt that either you're going to be taking on or your parents are going to be taking on. And another thing of like why I think that I'm here where I am today is because my parents told me from the jump that I have to pay for my college. Like there's no way that they're going to be funding it, which I was probably one out of like probably the only kid in my friend group that had to pay for college, even in college. And then the people that I hang out with today, the majority of their parents paid for their school. I did not have that privilege. I had to pay for everything, and I'm still paying $1,800 a month. Like it's insane. But again, I don't think I would be here today if that wasn't the case, because my dad, one thing or one of the many things that he taught me was responsibility and accountability and independence. My dad, because he told me that I have to pay for school, it wasn't just college. Like growing up, like I might have said this already in the video, I forget, but the littlest things I would have to pay for. If I wanted new soccer cleats, I had to pay for it. If I wanted to go on a field trip, I had to pay for it. If I wanted certain food in the cabinets, and like if I wanted to go on like a special diet and wanted to do like animal based, I had to pay for it. My dad, my mom, like they were middle class, like I said in the beginning, but they held me accountable and they made me like an adult growing up. Like that's just like how it was. And I don't necessarily know why, but at the end of the day, it's allowed me to be where I am today. And I'm thankful for that, even though it was like a blessing in disguise. But anyways, I go to college. Unfortunately, I didn't get into Penn State's business school because of the whole IB diploma that I was telling you about. And I was debating between UMass and then Elon. Miami, they didn't give me any money. And I went to Elon 4 years. And first 2 years, whatever, taking my finance classes, learning a lot, having a lot of good social experiences, making a lot of memories. Junior year, or going into junior year, sophomore spring, this is the time when you start full on taking like your 300, your 400 level classes. Something happens in 2020. All of you guys know what happened in 2020. I'm not going to say the word, but basically everything that I was doing in person got shut down. It was all online. It was all in Chegg. And then they even sent us home. Keeping in mind, I'm paying for this school. I'm paying like $25K a year, and obviously private loans. But yeah, I'm stacking debt. And in my opinion, college, the most valuable part about college are the professors and making relationships with people, because relationships are everything in life. It's not about the stuff that you learn in the textbooks or the exams that you take, the content. No, everything that you want to learn is online for free. You guys can find it. The most valuable aspect of college are the relationships 100,000%. And in 2020, they took that away from us and they didn't give us our money back for tuition and everything. So I was just distraught and I was like, what is going on? And then I started doing research on like how they were able to just essentially turn off the economy for so long, and it just woke me up. Up until this point, I thought that I wanted to be a financial advisor, but I completely 180'd and I was like, I want to be in control of my money, my finances, because if anything like this were to ever happen again, I don't want to be having a family that I'm raising where it's like, guys, we're screwed. Like I can't do, like my hands are tied. I never want to be in that situation again. Never. So then I started thinking, like I was telling you before, when I was growing up, and then high school, I stopped having that entrepreneurial like mindset, motivation, like aura, whatever you want to call it. As soon as 2020 hit, when we were at home and I wasn't able to work or I wasn't able to hang out with my friends, it all came back. And that's when I found TikTok. That's when I found Austin Hankwitz making that content about finance. And it completely opened up my mind. And I started my first business. I started making TikTok videos. I built a personal brand to like 20, 30,000 followers. I started a stock Discord, and first month we only did like $400 or $500, but eventually we scaled it to like 8 to 10K a month for a little bit. And I thought that was crazy because now it's junior year. All my friends are just like going out every single night, drinking, like doing the school thing, like just like they're there because they have to get a degree because they either already have a job lined up from like the parent relationships that they had in finance, or they're just like trying to just get their degree so they can go on to the next thing. Like one of my boys, he's in medical school right now, but I'm in college and I'm growing my business. I'm growing my personal brand. I'm growing my stock Discord, and I'm not even thinking about like anything about post-grad that like, oh, like I need to get this internship for the summer, whatever. Like, no. So during that year of 2020, that's when I started my first business, Stonk CEOs. And guys, I'm telling you right now, 2020 was the most eye-opening year of my life. Everything that I already said before, but also it's just like, here's an example. The entire S&P dropped 35% from like middle of February when everything broke out to the March 2020 lows is what they called it. Absolutely insane. Crazy story about this. I was on spring break. I was in Miami. I was in South Beach. I was in South Beach on spring break in 2020, and I had like $5,000 in my TD Ameritrade account, and then I also had $10,000 on margin because the Penn National Gaming acquisition just came through with Barstool Sports. They're merging. They're going to be two. So on margin, I bought $10,000 worth of shares of Penn, and I only had $5K in my entire TD Ameritrade at the time, and I probably had like $7K in my bank account. Like no money, like, which I mean, pretty good money for someone in 2020 actually. Anyways, 2020 happens, C19 happens. Guess what? The entire market crashes. I'm on spring break in Miami. My dad calls me. He's like, hey, you have a margin call. Your TD, like, what did I tell you about buying on margin? My Penn stock that I had like a cost basis of like $35 a share was all the way down to like $19 in like 2 days. And I'm on spring break. I'm absolutely blitzed. And all my money, just like that, gone because I had $10,000 on margin. That went to zero. My $5,000 was worthless. And my bank account, or my TD Ameritrade account, was negative $3,000. Plus I had to pay the $7,000 margin, or the $10,000 margin. And I only had $7K in my bank account. So I was completely restart. And this is as soon as C19 happens. And it was like the first rock bottom of my life. Insane. And yeah, the rest of that week, I just got annihilated. I was very depressed. I didn't show it, but it was like a really hard time. And it like woke me up. When I came home, I got a job at Dunkin' Donuts, and I started working really, really hard. And that's when I started the stock Discord community as well. So like that, like going rock bottom, having that adversity really pushed me forward to start my first business. And then in school, junior year, senior year, basically I'm just only focused on business, only focused on scaling everything that I have with Stonk CEOs. And the whole wake-up call that I had about like why I would never work a corporate job was just the unreal opportunity that there was in the market during 2020. Yes, I lost everything, but I quickly started making a lot of money back because I was working like 65 hours a week at Dunkin' Donuts. It was one of those one of the few locations where you can work because it was considered like a mandatory business. I forget what the word was, but they didn't close Dunkin' Donuts. So I was working there. I was doing everything. A lot of the tips were coming in because A, everyone was getting the stimulus relief, and then B, everyone thought of us as heroes because we were working during C19. People thought it was insane, so we were getting really good tips. And 2020 was insane because the entire stock market was down 35%, and in a very short amount of time, if you guys look at the chart of SPY, if you look at the chart of the Qs, if you look at the chart for crypto, it just had the craziest V-shaped recovery that you'd ever imagine. Because of course, quantitative easing happened, they started printing a ton of money, and if you were buying the bottom, you saw a very quick ROI on your investments. So that happened, and then I eventually rolled money into crypto, and then I started trading meme coins, and there'd be the famous story that I've told a lot of the people where they ask me like, when did I know that I wasn't gonna be ever working a corporate job again or going to corporate America after college? It was because I threw $5,000 into a coin called Corn Doge, which was a meme coin. And in literally an hour and 15 minutes, that $5,000 was worth $12,000. And I got out in an hour and 15 minutes. I made like 6-7 grand. It was the craziest thing that I've ever seen in my life. And at that moment was when I knew that there's no way in hell that I'm ever working a 9-to-5 job ever again because of that specific moment. It's that easy to make money. Money is not real. But yeah, so basically, senior year now, crypto's doing really well. I'm doing a lot of content specifically now on crypto, NFTs, everything in that niche, and it's going good. But then eventually FTX happened, Terra Luna happened, and I lost an insane amount of money between November of 2021 till May of 2022. November 2021 was the crypto top, and my portfolio was sitting at around $115,000 at the time as a senior in college. And I was just continuously increasing my goals. Like I would get to 50K and I was like, 100K, I'm gonna start taking profits. I get to 100K, I reevaluate. I'm like, there's no way, like Bitcoin's going to 100K and I want my portfolio to be worth $500,000 before I start taking profit. I got greedy. I got absolutely toasted in my first bull run. November to like February, I lost like 35% of that portfolio. And then after that, everything was going fine. I was kind of depressed because of that money that I lost. And guess what? I had 25K in Terra Luna. And what happened with Terra Luna? That went to zero. That got absolutely crushed. My senior week, going to graduation, I lose 25K in one day. It was insane. I was the most depressed that I've probably ever been in my entire life at that point in my life. And my crypto portfolio that was worth $115,000 my senior year, November, was worth a little over $20,000 a week before my graduation. And all my money was in crypto. It was insane. And keeping in mind, November, like I was telling you, like all these times where I was trading all these cryptos and I just knew that I was never going to be working a 9 to 5. Well, guess what? Didn't apply for any internships over those last 2 years of college. I didn't apply for any corporate jobs my senior year when all my friends had jobs lined up. I was the only person in my entire friend group that wasn't going to be working a job after they graduated because I was crushing it with crypto. I was crushing it with TikTok and my brand and everything like that. And it just completely left me out to dry. So I graduate and I just start making money again online. I have like this little agency where I'm essentially connecting influencers to other influencers for brand deals. And then I'm also doing something in the crypto side of things where it's like that same concept, but for crypto influencers. So after I graduate from May to the first week of July, I'm making like anywhere between 5 to 7K a month because I'm just absolutely grinding in my room. But I hate life because I'm at home and my head's down and I'm like, what am I doing with my life kind of situation? Because I thought I was going to have the vision that I was going to be moving to Miami because at this point I've already been to Miami a few times for Bitcoin Miami, some other network influencing events that I went to in the crypto space. So I was just set on the fact that as soon as I graduate, I was going to move to Miami and I was going to live a very good life and I was going to continue doing what I was doing because I did not think that this bull market was ever going to go away, and I was completely wrong. But fast forward to July, I was at a position where my bank account and all my assets like collectively was at around that like $50,000 to $75,000 range again. So I'm doing very well, making more money than people that I grew up with that were now working their real jobs. And I went to an NFT event called, it was NFT AZ. It was an NFT event for Chillin' Chameleons. That's where I met Parker for the first time in real life. And I was with my boy Pod. We got flown out. And on that trip, I decided to make the decision that I was going to be moving to Miami. I was like, dude, we're both making money again. Like, market isn't good. Like, the market isn't like pumping like it was before, but we're still having a lot of deal flow. We're still doing everything that we were doing on the agency side of things. Let's move to Miami, bump our heads together, put ourselves in an uncomfortable situation, and fucking grind so we can make a ton of money and live the life that we've been talking about for the last 2 years. Because I met this kid on the internet and we were working together since day one. And now we're in a position where we're together and we're like, dude, let's close this chapter. You're in your hometown in PA. I'm in my hometown in Mass. I already graduated. You already dropped out. Let's move to Miami. So what did we do? We found a 2-bed, 2-bath. I literally went on Google in Arizona. I'm on vacation in Arizona, in Scottsdale, Arizona. I searched Miami apartments on Google. The first building that comes up was, I'm not gonna say it, but it's in Edgewater. I click on it. I go to like housing. I see that there's some 2 beds available, 2 beds, 2 baths. We click on one. We fill out an application. We sent it. We got approved. I accepted it a week later, and then we went down there that next month in August. Didn't even tour the place. But I told myself that I was gonna put myself in an uncomfortable situation, and that is exactly what we did. We moved to Miami. Me and him. My dad helped me move in, and guys, I had no job. I had no plan. But when I was going to Miami, I knew that I needed to start another business that wasn't what we were doing right now. And I wanted to have some sort of aspect where there was like recurring revenue, because everything that I was doing before was essentially sales, where it's like you make a ton of money for the month and then you go into the next month and it resets. Like, you're not guaranteed to have like a residual or that recurring revenue aspect every single month that you're looking forward to. You basically had to just go out into the wilderness, kill what you eat every single month. So I was like, what am I gonna do to start a business like that? I had no idea. And this is how I started the cleaning business. When I was getting ready to move to Miami, my mom, she's talking to me and she's like, hey, if you want to move to Miami with your buddy, like that's cool, but I want you guys to get a cleaner for your house because the apartments down in Miami, like the weather, it's crazy. It's like 95 degrees, 100 degrees. Like, I don't know if Alex is messy. He was my roommate that I would live with. He was like, I want you guys to have a house cleaner where they come every 2 weeks or every month. I don't care. But if I ever visit you in Miami, I don't want to go down there and just see a pigsty. I don't want to see a messy apartment. I want you guys to keep your apartment very clean. So make that a non-negotiable. As soon as you move to Miami, look for a house cleaner. So me, I'm excited to get out of my hometown. I'm doing research in Miami for house cleaners. And I realized that it's expensive. It was like, I was looking at prices for like $180 or $200 for the specs of the place that I was gonna be getting in Miami, the 2-bed, 2-bath, for like every month. It was gonna be like $200. And I was like, what? Like, why is it that expensive? Holy. And then the algorithm in TikTok, this is what happened. Not even 24 hours later, I'm scrolling on TikTok and I see a video. Shout out Arya. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he's the founder of I'm Schmacked, if you guys remember that. He's the current founder of Cita Marketplace, serial entrepreneur. He makes a video, and I don't know if it was a coincidence. I didn't look at like the time frame of when he posted it, but it was on my For You page, and it was a video that he was like, this is a lucrative business that you could start in college if you're trying to make some money. And he literally explained the remote house cleaning business model, but not as good as how we perfected it today. But he was like, if you're in college or if you're in a city, you guys can just file an LLC, start a cleaning business, and then print out a ton of business cards and go to like the high rises and the apartment high rises in your city or the dorms and just put a ton of business cards on people's doors or flyers and like the elevators, like a lot of different like word of mouth and like organic marketing strategies. And then people call the number, they book a clean, you put it in your Google Calendar, they Zelle you, they Venmo you, whatever. And then he said you can go on like Indeed and you can find people that do cleaning for a living and you can hire them as an independent contractor. And then you're just essentially middlemaning the labor and they're going to be doing the cleans for you. They're going to the jobs and then you're keeping like 40 to 50% of the cleans. And I like was like, holy shit, I'm moving to Miami and I'm starting a cleaning business and this is exactly what I'm going to be doing. And this is my calling. This is everything that I was just telling myself 2 weeks ago. I needed to find a business that's going to have recurring revenue. This is it. So what did I do? I did a lot of research on the house cleaning space. And then I ended up finding this like academy kind of thing where they coach and they mentor you to basically hold your hand and start the cleaning business. They give you the entire blueprint. They walk you through from like getting the business LLC to hiring the cleaners to scaling it and then making some money, all of that. So I got on a call with these two guys. They sold me on it, and then I personally invested $4,200 in a mentorship program to learn on how to start my cleaning business because I wasn't going to be doing this. I wasn't going to be doing this with Pod because I personally asked him, my roommate. I was like, "Hey, do you want to start this business with me?" He was like, "No." Like he was probably in like a way better financial situation with me than me at the time because he was smart and he was highly risk managed when it came to crypto. But I was going to be starting this on my own and I wanted to do this the right way. So I seeked out mentorship and I got someone to mentor me. And then I moved to Miami. Middle of August, first 2 weeks, I'm just like getting all my furniture, I'm moving in, settling in, getting groceries. So I kind of like didn't really take any action. And then eventually I got on my onboarding call with my mentor and then I got everything set up. And then again, like even with this, like there's a lot of distractions down here in Miami. I found out really soon. And we were going out, we were doing this, I was playing golf. I got a gym membership. I was just like settling into my new city that I was going to be calling home for hopefully like the next few years. So I do that. And then eventually one of my boys that I met in Miami from my gym, Peter, he had a conversation with me one day and he was like, hey, like, he was like, we work out every day. Like we go out on the weekends. Like, why aren't we building something together? Like, let's start a business together. I know you mentioned like the cleaning business. I really haven't heard much about anything with that you were doing. Like, do you want me to help you with that? Like, do you want to be partners? And we had a conversation and basically I gave him an opportunity. I was like, hey, like I got almost everything set up. I just been slacking, delaying it because I've been busy with like the agency that I was doing with the whole like crypto, like deal flow influencer stuff and like the NFT. Like it was still a thing at the time, which is crazy because we were now in a bear market for a year. But I was like, you know what, Peter? Let's do it. Like, bring me a presentation for tonight of everything that you're going to be doing with this partnership. And if I think that it's going to be good, then let's run it. Sure enough, he was prepared and I onboarded him. He had some equity in the business and we got everything set up. And yeah, we got LSA approved. We hired 2 cleaners. But for the first like 7 days of LSA being live, and if you guys don't know what Google LSA is, local service ads. And by the way, we have an entire playlist on this YouTube channel too of everything that you need to know about starting your cleaning business. And then my partner, Parker, has the same thing, but his own videos. So if you're, after this story, if you guys are interested in starting a cleaning business, watch those playlists so we can go more in depth about this. But essentially, Google local service ads, this is one of the pay per lead ad platforms. If you go on Google and you search house cleaners near me or cleaning service near me, then all these businesses come up on the top of the Google, and that's Google LSA. There's a call to action, just call them or message them, and then it goes to your phone, you answer them, you close them, you book them, etc. I set that up for my cleaning business. I don't get a single phone call for like a week. And I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, why am I not getting a single, like every single day? I would be so upset that I wasn't getting any calls. And my mentor, she didn't know what was going on, which was like honestly really annoying because I paid a lot of money for this. And I was like, damn, like whatever. But what I did was I thought outside the box and I did a very simple solution, which was simply going to LSA, like going to Google, searching cleaning services near me, seeing all the people that were ranking at the top and just calling them. I called them, I was on the phone with them, and I was like, hey, like I also have a cleaning business and I'm just curious, like what do you do to be on the top of Google? Because I've tried now for a week and I can't figure it out and I haven't gotten a single phone call, and clearly you're doing something good because I see you at the top of Google, you answer the phone. And after a few phone calls, one lady, she eventually told me, she was like, you know what, like let me send you all the service areas that I have for my LSA profile. She was like, let me get your number, like I'll text you them. And she was like, how many service areas do you have? And I was like, I don't know. I go to my Google LSA profile, I pull it up, and I was like, oh, I have like 5. I have Miami, I have Wynwood, I have Edgewater, I have Homestead. And she was like, that's it? She was like, you only have those? She was like, I have like 50. I have all the zip codes. She was like, I went on Google and I searched up like a zip code map and I was able to see all the zip codes in our area, and I put in every single zip code, all the towns that the zip codes weren't available for. And she was like, I have over 50 different service areas. And I was like, what? And she sends me it. And then sure enough, I add all of those to my Google. And then I even did some more research, added a few more. Fixed that. I fixed my budget. I doubled it just so I can have an opportunity of getting on the top of the page. And sure enough, after a couple of days, I started getting phone calls. And my first full month was November of 2022. And we did over $14,000 in revenue for that month. My first full month operational, I think my first actual clean from an inbound lead was October 29th. I can double check. But from October 29th to December 1st, $14,000 in revenue. My second month in December, from December 1st to January 1st, we did $18,000 in revenue, and it went from there. And the reason why we were able to scale like that is because of the recurring revenue. That whole thing that I was telling you guys earlier in this video about I needed to find a business that has that recurring revenue aspect. The reason for this is because cleaning is a sticky ICP. The customer, they order, an ICP is ideal customer profile. So for example, me, I want to get my place cleaned. I get it cleaned every single 2 weeks for my cleaners right now. We have 3 ladies that come in here. It takes an hour. They're in and they're out. I need that every single 2 weeks now because I'm just used to it. Like, that's what I mean by sticky. So if we have all these residential leads coming in, their families or they're people that have apartments, majority of them are working jobs and they don't have time to clean. It's a stressful event. Not many people like to clean their apartment and they let things go. So they get that first deep clean and then we call them and we're like, hey, like I heard Judy did a great job. I was wondering if you were interested in getting on a bi-weekly plan or a weekly schedule or even a monthly schedule. We let them know what our rates are. And a lot of these customers that we book on the residential side of things, they book on a recurring basis because now it goes from a desire to a necessity expense. They calculate now their bi-weekly clean or their monthly clean in their budget, and now they're a customer for life, assuming that you provide a high quality service. So you're just stacking that recurring revenue. So going into February, we had like $7,500 already on the books for February on February 1st because all that revenue was from people that we've done business with in the past and now they're recurring customers. So it's very ideal to have that kind of a business model because now you're not stressing every single month to do it again. But yeah, anyways, like it's not just residential too. You might get on the phone with someone that owns Airbnbs and they have 2 or 3 Airbnbs in Miami and they have maybe 5 to 10 turns a month because they're renting it out for 2 to 3 days at a time. And the biggest pain point in the Airbnb business, if you have Airbnbs, are the cleaners and the situation, because they're essentially a house manager. If you don't have a solid cleaning crew that you can rely on, then you're going to be losing money. You're going to have to cancel bookings for future jobs that you have with tenants coming in for their short-term turns, because if you don't have a reliable staff, then the place isn't going to get clean. The handyman isn't going to come in and fix everything. They're not going to restock the soaps. They're not going to be having a fresh new start for that new turn, and they're going to lose money. So that's the biggest pain point. So you have these Airbnb owners now calling you, and you can also have many different outreach methods to be able to lock in Airbnb owners outside of just pay per lead through LSA, because be completely fully transparent, you're not going to be getting a lot of Airbnb people on the phone on Google LSA, because it's more so just like the residential people or sometimes like a small business. But anyways, Airbnb is in a completely different type of clean where you land 1 or 2 of those clients and it's an absolute gold mine, and they can be adding alone like anywhere between $3,500 to upwards of $10,000 a month in recurring revenue, depending on how many units they have. It's insane. And if you do a good job for them, they're going to talk to their other friends that have Airbnbs, and now they're going to give you a referral, and you're just going to be stacking business like that in just the Airbnb side of things. It's insanity. But yeah, now we're going into March, April of 2023, and funny enough, I go to the poker room because one of my things that I like to do is play poker. And that's where I meet Mark. If you guys don't know who Mark is, he's my business partner today for Drop Service Academy. And he's also my business partner today for our other cleaning business that we started in the summer of 2023 in Nashville. And I meet him, I'm at the poker table. He's the only person my age there. I'm like, hey, like, what's going on, man? Like, we're talking for a little bit. And I was like, what do you do, bro? And he's like, oh, I own a cleaning business in Miami. And I was like, no, you don't. And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, bro, I literally own a cleaning business in Miami too. And we immediately hit it off. We got each other's numbers. We were talking for a little bit, whatever. We were hanging out, met some of his friends. And then eventually, going into the summer, he was going to be going on to a trip to Costa Rica, and he was going to be going to Mexico City. I was going to be going on a trip to Hawaii, and we wanted to do business together. And he asked me what my plans were for the next year or so. And I said that, I wanted to maybe start a second cleaning business, because now the one in Miami that we have is more and more becoming automated. We have virtual assistants in at this point that are doing all the sales calls, they're doing all the quality control, they're doing all the bookings, they're making sure that the cleaners are going to the jobs, payroll, everything. We have VAs in our system. And I was like, hey, if this is going to be cash flowing me X amount of money per month, with me only having to spend 5-10 hours a week, why not just replicate that in a different market and run it back, and now have 2 of these vehicles doing the same thing? And Mark was like, would you want to go 50-50 on a cleaning business in Nashville? And I was like, hell yeah. So we got an LLC, we started that one in Nashville. And then I also told him that I wanted to start like some sort of academy, coaching program, because I showed him my TikTok account. I had over 150,000 followers, and I was making a lot of content talking about like everything that I was doing in the cleaning space. And then I kind of stopped making a lot of content when I started my cleaning business, because before it was just like all crypto, NFTs. But I was so busy, I just stopped making content for like 5-6 months. And I was like, I have this personal brand, like I want to leverage that. And I don't think a lot of people are talking about this business model. So why don't you help me make this like mentorship program, academy, because he was crushing it with his business in Miami. And yeah, we became partners and we did that as well. So we started Drop Service Academy, and then we also started the business in Nashville. And Drop Service Academy, that didn't launch until, give or take, I think like middle of September was when we ended up getting our first student. But for the 4 or 5 months before that, we were making all the content, all the modules, figuring out where we're gonna host it, website, everything like that. And yeah, it's been about 8 months now, because if you're watching this video today, I think it's May 29th of 2024, which is absolutely insane because I've been down here for a year and a half now. But we have over 100 students now in Drop Service Academy. The businesses are crushing. We've brought on a third partner, Parker. And again, I'm going to be having his link for his YouTube channel that you guys can check out if you don't already follow him. But it's been a crazy year and a half since I've graduated college, or 2 years now, because I graduated, I think it was literally like 2 years ago, May 22nd, I think was my graduation. So 7 days ago, 2 years and 7 days since I've graduated college with no plan, to now being in Miami, making over 6 figures a month between all the businesses, and just genuinely being happy. And I have a lot to still do. I'm not saying that I'm successful yet. I'm definitely in the 0.1% or the 1% of like my age demographic, the people that I've hung out with, whatever you want to call it, like my age group. But there's still a lot that I want to do. And one thing is 1000% going all in on YouTube and making a ton of content. So that's why I wanted to share you guys my story and my video for you. But yeah, if you have any questions about anything, or if you resonated with any of the information that I told you in this whole video, let me know in the comments. I'd appreciate that a lot. But guys, I'm going to be posting a lot of videos for you on YouTube. So hopefully this is the first of many that you guys check out. And yeah, I'm going to have all my socials below. My name on Instagram is just John Melillo. But I don't think I left anything out. But there's definitely a lot more things I will tell you along the way. We're going to be having educational content. We're going to be having like a vlog style kind of content. But as we have those vlogs, I'll definitely tell you more information about my life, my experiences, everything like that, and just give you guys those free nuggets for you to take with you with a grain of salt and apply it to like your current situation. But yeah, appreciate you guys.